What is going on, everybody? It's Alex coming back at you with another video, and today we are going to be doing round three of this mock draft. Finally, we are not having to redo this one after I posted it because, big trades change everything. So, it's a catch-22. It's fun when we see something like Russell Wilson, Carson Wentz, Khalil Mack be traded. So there are definitely variabilities that we could account for, and it makes it fun. But of course, that also means that we're delaying stuff like team off seasons, which are going to be coming pretty tight. So not every team's going to be able to be done. I'm going to try to capitalize on a couple of franchises that I promised some videos on. One of those being the 49ers. So thank you to you guys for continuing to comment all your teams down in the comment section below. And of course, let me know which ones you want to see. Ravens are going to be up first. So we'll do that. Number 65, you got the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I think a good position to probably target here would be to get some help in the interior defensive line. I know that we did get George Karlaftis here, so we could even get somebody on the outside, but wide receiver also is a big position of concern for me. You have Jalen Tolbert on the board. I have him as a second round wide receiver. Big fan of him. So yeah, being able to nab him at 65, that's a big plus. Number 66, you got the Lions on the board, and the linebacker is a huge one for me right now. I'm going to go Chad Muma all day. Someone was complaining they didn't go in round two. The players fall, dude. It's what happens. Like, good players fall, and that's okay because some teams are looking for some things, some teams aren't. And sometimes you just have to wait your turn. It only takes one team to fall in love with you, but also those teams have a billion other guys that they've fallen in love with. Number 67, we got the New York Giants on the board. Already have addressed the majority of the issues on the team. I want to see if we can get another interior offensive lineman, and we can. So the question is, do we want to get Ed Ingram, Alec Lindstrom, or Dylan Parham? And to me, honestly, I'd probably go after that guard spot just because I don't trust Dylan Parham yet. That's just me personally. He'll still get drafted very soon, but I think that Ed Ingram to me would be someone who I'd want a little bit more help reestablish that run game there with Brian Dable. Number 68, you got the Houston Texans. Houston Texans, I think the best thing you can do is establish your run game now that we've established the offensive line. And Isaiah Spiller's still on the board. You got to get him. He is the top of that next echelon. So you got pretty much the top three guys, and then you have a pretty big drop off to Dameon Pierce, and then a bigger drop off to everybody else. So yeah, making sure that you capitalize on Isaiah Spiller is probably the best thing you can do for your franchise. Number 69, the New York Jets are on the board, and a linebacker is also paramount for this team. And you can go anywhere from this list. All these guys are absolutely phenomenal. Channing Tindall would be great. When we went to Damone Clark, again, he has a little bit more of that NFL Mike build. There's 6'3", 245. I like him overall. Definitely a fun player to test out. Number 70, we're back with the Jacksonville Jaguars on the board, and I think going after Kirby Joseph could be a fun addition to the team. I'm a huge fan of him. You could also go after another wide receiver as well. Could look at someone like Dameon Pierce to add to the roster because Carlos Hyde got cut today. But I would actually want to go after probably another tight end. You already traded away a third-round pick you got a third-round pick for trading away C.J. Henderson, and then got an all right tight end in return. I think you could still go after another one. But that being said, you could also look at the offensive line, and there are some good ones here. You could definitely look at Alec Lindstrom on that list. Jatire Carter deserves to be in this range as well. Darien Canard is going to be a tackle only, so I would never do that to you guys. So it's a little bit of a tough spot. Honestly, I'd want to be able to trade back with a team that's probably looking for someone like Alec Lindstrom. That team could be right here with the Panthers. I honestly wouldn't mind that at all. Daniel Faalele is also on the board, though. Could we have gone that way for the Jets? Absolutely. But I kind of want to trade with the team that'd be looking to bolster their roster with a very high ceiling player. That could be the Ravens. It definitely could be. But I think with the Ravens, I'd be looking more for Abe Lucas than anything. Looking for a team that actually wants to swing on a tackle like that would be it's a ballsy pick. That's the only issue, is that you're taking a chance on Faalele like panning out. And honestly, that might just be the next pick with the Bears, just being able to invest in your offensive line. That it's a tough one for sure. It is, because I want to go after, maybe Carolina wants to take a shot on Faalele, but at that point, I don't see it. I think Nicholas Petit-Frere is going to be a better option for them. So you could see even the Colts try to move ahead and get Ferrer. It wouldn't be a bad idea. Who did we get? Did we get Sky Moore for him for the Colts? We did. So again, I'm doing this all live. I don't try to build up intrigue for no reason. So I'm actually going to have the Panthers trade up slightly here. I am. So this pick with the Panthers was supposed to be with the Seahawks, and we actually used it in a trade back. So if you guys are asking like, hey, where's that pick with the Seahawks? This is it. I traded up for KT, and I think that honestly, regardless of what you guys say, I still think that's a phenomenal move. So yeah, at this point, there's so many Jacksonville Jaguars picks next year. They're going to be asking for some nice compensation next year. Next year, 7 should be able to make them move back 2 spots. If not, then we'll just move up and give them that 6th round pick. Honestly, it's not that big of a deal. These 7th and 6th round players rarely ever pan out. So I'm going to go Nicholas Petit-Frere out of Ohio State. Guy can play left or right tackle in case of injury. I think the guy's honestly a really good talent. He's worth a 2nd round pick to me. So getting him is definitely a good way to go. Number 71 with the Chicago Bears. I'm looking at the corner room, and honestly, it's Cam Taylor-Britt, Josh Williams, and Marcus Jones. And then you could also talk about Phidarian Mathis because Eddie Goldman just was released literally like 20 minutes ago. So getting Phidarian Mathis would be a great way to continue rebolstering that defensive front. I think this is a pretty good class to do that in. And it also kind of takes them away from the Jacksonville Jaguars, who I think honestly should take Zach Carter. You know what? Zach Carter, he's just a fun interior defensive lineman that can I like him as a boundary guy more. So I would honestly rather have Zach Carter outside of George Karlaftis, even though Zach Carter weighs 20 pounds heavier. It's a weird thing. Zach Carter is just, he's a physical specimen, very well might go in that 2nd round. 73 with the Colts, like they just want an established guy, but at this point you have to pull the trigger on Carson Strong. You just do. That's the way you got to roll with it. Carson Strong at 73. People say that's crazy. Honestly, like you just need to think for a second that someone with 3 ACL or knee surgeries, not ACL, 3 knee surgeries is not going to be pretty preferential to a team, especially when he doesn't run very well at all. He's pretty much just like an immobile piece of brick in the freaking pocket. And yeah, he has some special throws, but you know, you're not going to get that much out of him. He was one of the worst, if not the worst quarterback at the Senior Bowl, because Bailey Zappi deserves some respect as well. He's just probably not going to be in this range based solely on the fact that he just doesn't have the arm strength to get it there. Number 74 with the Falcons. This is going to be an edge pick, and you still have some phenomenal guys on the board. One of those being Drake Jackson. Yeah, you pull the trigger on Drake Jackson if he's here. 75, I would want to take a shot on someone who's a little bit more raw, whether that's Myjai Sanders. You could also go that corner route, but when you have Kingsley Enagbare here, you have to just pull the trigger on that. Number 76 with the Ravens. This is going to be a developmental corner here. This is going to be Josh Williams out of Fayetteville State. That he's a straight baller. Yeah, we could honestly use this pick to try to strengthen that right tackle spot, but I think Josh Williams is worth a little bit more than Darien Canard in my books. Number 77, we got the Vikings on the board, and we could definitely look at the edge route as well as linebacker. And honestly, I'm going to be going Cam Thomas here. Definitely a guy with an extremely high ceiling. I'm just not as high on him as other people. So there you go. Number 78, we got the Browns. Honestly, this is another spot where I might even pull the trigger on an edge rusher, but I might want to wait for Alex Wright, maybe in the 4th round. Let's see how that happens. But with this pick, I actually want to target a linebacker, and we kind of already have our lighter linebacker. Kind of makes it a little bit hard for Channing Tindall. But Quay Walker is someone who I actually really want for this roster. Darian Beavers would be fun as well because he could be that edge linebacker hybrid. But Quay Walker is going to be my guy, so lock him in. Number 79 with the Washington Commanders. This is going to be Alec Pierce out of Cincinnati, getting a big 4.41 speed, 6'4", really good all-around receiver is exactly what you need to complete this receiving core for Carson Wentz. Number 80 with the Texans. This is going to be Calvin Austin out of Memphis. Obviously, in the AAC, they've seen him quite a few times. He can definitely play a very big role for this team. 81 with the New York Giants. This team probably could. I mean, I'm trying to think of where else they can go. Probably tight end would be the best one. And I think Greg Dulcich might not be a bad choice. And I think that's exactly where you will go. Obviously, Evan Ingram's on the market right now. So getting Greg Dulcich would be a very big plus for the roster. 82 for the Colts. I would love to honestly go another wide receiver, but tight end kind of is a huge need for this team. And I just see this happening. Jelani Woods out of Virginia. The guy is absolutely phenomenal as a tight end overall, 4.5 speed, and he's just a big, big threat. Good after the catch as well. Just people comped him to an angry moose. So yes, sign me up for that. I love it. 83, Philadelphia just got, obviously Kelsey came back. So my thumb of approval. Love it. He did it in a very awesome way as well. So honestly, at this point, you could try to draft someone who's more developmental, like Daniel Faalele, to be able to sit on your roster. But I just can't see that happening. I can't. When there's Kirby Joseph on the board, you pull the trigger on Kirby Joseph. With the Steelers, they've went offense all this time. And honestly, I don't see that really changing. Logan Hall might be able to change my mind, or Josh Pascal as an interior guy. But with that being said, honestly, I'm really vibing with this idea of Abraham Lucas being our right tackle. He's going to be ready day one. It's pretty damn phenomenal overall. I had a 3rd round grade on him starting out the year, and he's just done everything exactly the way I thought he would. Very consistent, very solid, 320 pounds, and he ran like a 4.9. So very athletic at that size. Big plus, because honestly, he probably won't be here. Number 85, the Patriots. I would love to pull the trigger on a corner, but I'm going to be pulling it on Daniel Faalele here. High-end tackle out of Minnesota. Going to be that right tackle for when Trenton Brown is going to be out. Number 86, you got the Raiders, and the Raiders are actually going to be pulling the trigger on this one. Wan'Dale Robinson out of Kentucky. Yeah, you're going to get a deep threat, kind of like your on-sale version of Henry Ruggs. You can also do a very good job in the run game, so getting your Swiss Army knife is nothing to scoff at in a division that is arguably now known as the AFC best. Number 87, we got the Cards on the board, and you guys get your pick of the litter here. I'm going to go Nick Bonito as your outside linebacker, edge rusher out of Oklahoma. It's just like, at this point, you're playing with house money. Number 88 with the Cowboys. I mean, I would still look for another wide receiver. I would, but honestly, I'm not a huge fan of the guys on the board. So looking at the edge room, we can do a quick little inventory check. I know we already went linebacker as well. Safety definitely still on the board, but not a huge fan of the guys left besides maybe Wanye Thomas. I am actually going to go on the interior side, and I'm looking at Josh Pascal here. The guy can play outside or in. I'm just a huge fan of what he brings to the table overall. Logan Hall could be in that category too. Honestly, either of them are phenomenal. I'm just going to go Josh Pascal because some of his plays are just legendary. Big fan of him. Number 89, we got the Buffalo Bills. And honestly, this has just felt perfect from the time I thought of it. Alec Lindstrom as a Buffalo Bill, sign me up for that. Can play guard, can play center. Big fan of what he could bring to this team. Number 90 for the Titans. They just got rid of Robert Saffold. And I think this would be a good location to probably try to bolster their offensive line. Dylan Parham can play both guard and center. Darien Canard can play tackle, I guess. Man, this is actually a pretty sucky spot. I was like all excited thinking, well, Alec Lindstrom would have been the perfect guy for this type of role. I'm actually going to go Andrew Stuber here. Yeah, he played reps at center during the Senior Bowl. I think that he could definitely play a guard role for this team. Good in the run game as well. I think he'd be a good addition. Number 91, we got the Buccaneers. And have we addressed interior offensive line? We haven't even for this team either. This is where we're going to see Dylan Parham come off the board. Center guard hybrid out of Memphis. Both those positions are in high demand for the Bucs. At number 92, this is Logan Hall or Darien Canard, and I just don't feel confident in Logan Hall. I don't feel confident in most of these guys being an actual tackle, and the tackle class is pretty cheeks. So it's Max Mitchell or Darien Canard. I'm going to take my chance on the dude with like 34.5-inch arms and is like 320 pounds. Let's go Darien Canard out of Kentucky. Had a run on offensive and defensive line there, but 93, the Niners say no mas, no more. Cam Taylor-Britt out of Nebraska. Signed me up for that. Yeah, really good corner out of Nebraska. Number 94, the Chiefs have the option to go after a slower wide receiver, so why not go after David Bell? Just a really good football player overall, solid with the ball in his hands. 95, Bengals. Again, offensive line not looking too great, except for Cole Strange. And that's going to be a really good center competition there between him and Trey Hill. So I think we're going to initiate that. Could really be a big plus up there, up north in that AFC North division. Number 96, the Broncos are back on the board, and you can't say this enough how much I love Marcus Jones on this team. Slot corner is probably going to be a big position to target, and he's easily the best one in my books on the board. Number 97, we got the Lions, and wide receiver is something that I do kind of want to target for this team. Tyquan Thornton might be a guy who I would want to grab at that 4.22 speed, 4.23. Might not be a bad choice. Bo Melton certainly should be in this category as well. Romeo Doubs and no bueno. So honestly, this is probably where we see someone like Tyquan Thornton take that big jump. It might be. I would love to have been able to pull the trigger on a larger wide receiver personally, but it's going to be kind of hard to get better than a 6'2" guy who can run the 4.2s. Honestly, I think that's a good target for the team. Tyquan Thornton out of Baylor, going to be sneaking into this draft. Number 98, we're going to go after an athletic freak here. And Logan Hall is still on the board. Same thing with Alex Wright. That hurts me. But we're going to be going Amari Barno out of VT. Guy ran a 4.37 40 as an edge rusher. People are thinking he won't get out of the second round. I think he will, but that's okay. Number 99, we got the Ravens back on the board, and offensive line is just not looking too bueno. Just not a vibe right at the moment. Donovan West is the closest thing I'd ever probably try to draft at this point. Lacecia Smith, Thayer Mumford, maybe. But at this point, it's just kind of barren, and there's some really good linebackers on the board. So I might want to trade with a team as we're coming close to the end that would be looking for someone of Brandon Smith's caliber. And let's think of a team that might want to be able to do that. And we probably want to trade to the NFC just because, again, you don't want to be facing Brandon Smith twice in a year if that ever happens. And teams that are probably looking for someone like Brandon Smith are teams that could be looking for that safety linebacker hybrid. That could be Washington. I don't think they make a move after spending a lot of their picks in the first place. You could look at the Cowboys. Already did kind of target a linebacker in the second round of this draft. Coming up and drafting Brandon Smith would be a little bit foolish. It's a tough one. It's a tough one to think about who should trade up for Brandon Smith because, again, this guy's an absolute stud. Darien Beavers deserves some respect as well. Oof, it's a toughie because his athletic profile, he was tested 4.38 in high school. He tested, I think, low 4.5s at the combine, which I think he'll definitely look to improve at his pro day. It's really tough to find an actual spot for him. And you know what? Let's just look for it. Let's look for it. We'll start the Ravens here. Who in the NFC could use it? Who could do it? You got the Seahawks here. The Seahawks could probably pull the trigger on one, honestly. With the Seahawks having extra draft capital, you could definitely take a shot on him. The Rams, they have absolutely nothing right now at that linebacker room. So they also, I think they got, Kenny Young was already, I'm trying to think of a team. You know what? We're going to trade in division. The Raiders are going to trade up, and they're going to have to give a little bit more than maybe they'd like, giving up 2/4 to be able to move up with the Ravens. Yeah, we're going to be doing that. And the Ravens accepted the offer, and they're going to be going after Brandon Smith out of Penn State, just cut one of their linebackers. So being able to get Brandon Smith could be a big, big plus. 100 with the Saints. I think a wide receiver should still be on the table. We went Jameson Williams earlier. You could definitely go after Khalil Shakir, but I'm going to be going after Bo Melton out of Rutgers. 4.3, 4.40. Having a lot of speed is never an issue. 101 with the Dolphins, who I probably might have wanted to go Bo Melton for. You could definitely still look in that wide receiver room, but I just think you'd be doing nobody justice if you're able to go after someone like Darien Beavers, Channing Tindall, or even JoJo Doman at this spot. Jesse Luketa is a fun option too. But Jesse Luketa kind of fits exactly what I'd be looking for as a linebacker edge hybrid, that Van Noy type of linebacker. So that's what we're going to be going after. 102 with the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, you might as well probably try to take advantage of having some good guys on the board. I'm going to go Kobe Bryant here out of Cincinnati. I just think that's really good value. And to end off the draft, the Rams are on the board, and we are actually going to be sticking to Arizona State with Donovan West because that inside position pretty lackluster. So that's going to be the draft. It kind of sucks because there was actually some guys who I really wanted to take even in the second that just fell through. That's just the way the draft works, guys. Good players fall. So let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys on the far side. Peace.